remember everybody's names.
But then we have the Alzheimer's meeting.
Sure. All right, this is the Nottingham Master Plan Subcommittee. We're meeting on Thursday, May 29th, 2025 at 6 o'clock. We're in the town office building. We're in the newly renovated conference room 1 with great chairs.
Yeah, really.
The changes.
Yeah, these are nice.
Yeah. And I'll just call this meeting to order. My name is Dirk Rodenheis. I'm the chair of the subcommittee. I'll go around the room and everybody can introduce themselves. And then I'll just go over a brief review of what we're going to try and do tonight. All right. So to my left, start you and we'll go around.
Dawn Fernald.
Kevin Bassett?
Tim Gabriel.
Mary Goldberg.
Steve Sheriff?
Sarah Watton.
Drew Stevens.
Chris Evans.
Kristen Lamb.
Great.
Who are you?
I'm Dirk Rodenheis. I thought I started it
You
out
might have
that
used
way.
that.
Did you? Okay.
It's all right. It comes back around. That's all right. Dirk Rodenheis.
Sorry.
There's no Blair?
Blair is not here tonight.
This is our meeting.
Yeah, this is our meeting. He's only available for, right now, the housing chapter.
Oh,
So that grant covers his time because he's not free, like we all are. And so it covers his, the payment for him to do the housing,
oh, okay.
all right? So I did talk to Blair last week about this meeting specific, so I've got a little bit of information I can pass along. But just in general, I think some of the previous meetings we have had, they're, very comprehensive and getting into a lot of the information. And just by some feedback, I think there was some thoughts of what are we doing here? Are we just diving into the housing? Are we doing other things? How long is this going to take? Are we going to? So I thought maybe this meeting could just be a little step back and a little higher elevation view of what the master plan is and, what we're tasked to do in the subcommittee and kind of go through what has been done in the past and kind of where this needs to go in order to accomplish it. So I don't want to talk all night because I have a lot of agenda items here. I apologize for that, but I think there's just a lot of detail that we can go through. I did try and put a little bit of time parameters around them just so we're not stuck in one area for too long. And then we can move along, but they're pretty generous and we can slide things around. So
Okay, yeah, to me, I don't know if it's on the agenda, but to me, it was a wrestling match on when we're gonna be the timing.
it still is a wrestling match, I'm sure. We
But
don't,
that word, it's very, very complicated, that's all.
yeah, well, with, 10 plus members, there's a lot of people's schedules and time commitments. So
How did
it's
the tool
been
work out
good.
to get this one? So should we
Good.
continue, is your plan to work the tool?
Yeah.
For the next meeting?
I can send out a similar request to meet on a specific time. People can then go look at their schedules and see if any of those times work. And then we'll just pick the highest amount of
Okay,
people that are
General,
available.
This is what, the fourth or third Thursday?
Fourth.
Fourth Thursday, I would nominate that.
Well, we'll target that. I mean, if the fourth Thursday in general,
It doesn't work.
It's just, I think.
You're here
for
today.
everybody, Steve, it's.
So it must
be.
Yeah, but next week I'm not, so, but use the tool.
Yeah.
Get the most and run with it.
and I will target for right around, 4 weeks from now to be able to meet again.
And you may want to consider two, but
We may want to consider
2 weeks.
2 weeks at some point here when we really start getting rolling. Now, the other benefit is that we have sort of, at least for the housing and for the housing piece of it, we've kind of broken off some subgroups. And that's great because we can get a lot of work done outside of this meeting and then kind of report back. And I think that's a good place that we should be doing too is, thank you for everybody trying to get that survey out. It's out. It's great. I think it's, really well done. Let's promote it. Let's get it everywhere we can.
Do you have a time limit on it?
We don't have a time limit on it.
Okay, I have a question.
End of June
In one
was
of the
suggested by,
Sorry.
In one of the emails, it had indicated that you wanted it done by the end of June. But if you want to delay it a little bit, I could put an article in a newsletter that will come out July 1st. That if you haven't, it would be a good thing for you to do, to complete this survey. But it'll be after the fact if you're deadlining it end of June.
I thought there was a note in the newsletter about the master plan, the whole front page.
Yes.
There was a
Yeah.
survey that just
Yeah.
came
Oh.
out. And I think from what Blair said, the, survey will last beyond the end of June. It wasn't a hard deadline. And I don't know if that's just a matter of having them update that part of the survey, to say, end of July or something. But I didn't get the sense from
Yeah,
Blair that there was a hard end to that.
Blair didn't indicate any sunset for that specific survey, and it can be extended, and that's probably a good idea to do that. I think it's more based on the, people's energy of seeing it that one time and trying to get the most out of it. Then you're gonna get the taper off
And
of
to create
respondents,
Urgency.
and then by the end, maybe by 4 weeks, 5 weeks, there's gonna be 1 or 2 trickling in, and is it worth to just
So you're
keep it
essentially
open?
procrastinators.
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah. So,
If it's not a hard deadline, then I'll
I-
get something short
yeah,
and put it in.
and then maybe it's, and then we'll let you know, maybe even to put an end date on it, get this done by X amount of days
Okay, I have to submit my article by the 1st
of,
June.
okay.
So if you think about it.
No
No
pressure.
hurry.
June,
Sorry.
June
Pressure.
10th.
That's a hard deadline.
Why
I mean, July
why don't
10th.
we just say July 10th?
Okay, perfect, July 10th. I will do the article and say by July 10th. Or maintain your peace and quiet.
Yep,
Mary, would it help to send along a QR code to be put in there too, so that people can, they don't have to
Yes.
type in a whole URL?
That'd be
They can-
excellent.
Yeah.
Because that's, I can generate one for you to use if
Okay.
that,
June 1st.
yes.
That's the deadline.
A little
Let's set a
flexibility.
reminder.
I
right
just
now.
have to make sure that he doesn't fill the space, that the article is going to require.
Did we put paper copies anywhere? Are we putting paper copies of it anywhere? I know we don't really want to.
Yeah, that was Blair's suggestion of not having paper copies, because it's time intensive to input that data
Yes.
into the survey.
I remember that.
But we could, I'm sure we can find some volunteers to input it.
Okay.
I just don't know where those,
I always hear that there's like some demographics that don't, use the computers. I know there were some
Yeah.
spots that we could hit, like some
Yeah.
luncheons or other things like that.
Well, I think Blair was also saying that the survey's not meant to be a comprehensive, scientific, it's not gonna get a complete cross-section of the community either, but he was saying the narratives from it can be useful
Yeah.
to inform some things. But it's always better to get as diverse of opinions as we can.
and we can get into some of the other pieces, the stakeholder stuff, community engagement. I've got a point on our agenda to do that. So the rest of those other exercises or workshop and things like that, we can touch on for that. So I'm hoping, and if not, then I'm not gonna hold it against you, but there is a bunch of work that's already in there. There is a guideline and a template of the order of things. These are the same categories and sections that we were intending on updating, because this is a master plan update. So I don't think that we have to reinvent the wheel as far as what sections there are. We might add 1 or 2 or something, but we have a guideline and a framework already set. I'd like to just ask if anyone has any issues with that and the table of contents. I think that we've gone through before. It was housing number 1, and there's no order of priority here. These are just all the sections. So housing, natural resources, land use and future land use, historic resources, transportation and circulation, economic development, community facilities, and energy. So,
Speaking of
So if we
transportation,
divide and conquer, 2 people each, we just start to ask for inputs and supply inputs to each of those.
so you're thinking of attacking it all at once, or going as a group to, or, I mean, having a subgroup do,
Subgroups to start to handle them, and if we need help, we'll ask for help. There are inputs from Blair
That's just.
to get for some of those.
That's just.
Okay. That's an idea, that's not a bad idea.
I mean, that's what I proposed to do a couple months ago,
Yeah.
to divide and conquer and at least start. Because there's data to be inputted to bring those up to speed. That's the easy part. Get the data and update those paragraphs per se.
Mhm.
Those are how to do that.
So a few things that, might influence that is that there are grants and money that we have available for updating certain chapters now. So in addition to the HOP grant for doing the housing.
And those
that-
split off and you work those individually, sure.
Yeah, right.
Agreed.
But we also recently got a grant to help update the natural resource
Right.
inventory chapter
Yep.
as well as the NRI itself.
So
But the timing of that and the grant money and how that's spent and how the data is collected to be able to input into that is going to lag a bit, just
Oh, sure.
from the nature,
Sure,
of the beast.
but attack the ones you can attack right away.
If I'm just saying splitting off
Yeah.
into groups of 2, there might just, members sitting idly while waiting, for
Others can do this. There can be many attacking one thing.